Since the day we were born, we have looked up at the sky, watched sci-fi movies, and assumed we had space all figured out. But we are deeply mistaken. Hollywood scripts, urban legends passed down through generations, and most importantly, the simple logic of our earthling brains feed us a massive lie about the universe. The truth is, space operates by rules that defy our daily human experiences, almost as if it's playing a prank on us. Let's unlearn everything we thought we knew, starting with those famously perilous zones where cinema and popular culture mislead us the most. In movies, you always see spacecraft zigzagging through giant boulders, dodging death every single second. In reality, the objects in the asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter are separated by hundreds of thousands, if not millions of kilometers. The odds of a spacecraft colliding with any given asteroid are about 1 in a million. Navigating through it is no different than driving down a completely empty highway. However, don't let this vast cosmic emptiness fool you. These serene highways aren't the only places where movies misguide us. The sensations astronauts experience during their famous spacewalks are also entirely misunderstood. When we see astronauts floating effortlessly inside the International Space Station, we assume they are in a completely gravity-free environment. In truth, gravity up there is nearly 90% of what it is on Earth's surface. Astronauts float not because of a lack of gravity, but because the station and everything inside it are in a state of perpetual free fall around Earth, at thousands of kilometers per hour. They aren't weightless, they're just caught in an endless fall. While the sensation of infinite falling creates a strange kind of freedom in space, the limits of the human body begin to warp in even stranger ways out there. In fact, in a vacuum where you would expect to smell absolutely nothing, the scents that drift into your nose might leave you utterly bewildered. We tend to think of space as a completely odorless vacuum. Yet astronauts returning from spacewalks often report a peculiar aroma clinging to their suits, a mix of seared steak, hot metal, and gunpowder. This scent is carried by high-energy particles blasted into space by dying stars. So as it turns out, space has its own distinct, smoky perfume. As the mysterious scents of space wrap around the void, the images captured by cameras continue to puzzle humanity just as much as the astronauts' senses do, just like those famous photographs taken on our closest neighbor. In photos taken by astronauts on the moon, the sky is pitch black, yet not a single star is visible. This is entirely an optical illusion. The lunar surface acts like a giant mirror, intensely reflecting sunlight, meaning astronauts on the moon are actually experiencing daytime. Camera sensors must dial down the exposure to clearly capture this blindingly bright terrain. Just like standing directly under a bright streetlight at night makes the stars above vanish, the glaring reflection of the lunar surface renders the faint stars in the background completely invisible. Speaking of faint stars hidden behind the darkness and playing tricks on our eyes, we might also be entirely misunderstanding those colossal, light-swallowing monsters of the universe. Black holes are not ravenous monsters pulling in everything from afar. They function more like cosmic sinkholes. If our sun were replaced tomorrow by a black hole of the exact same mass, Earth wouldn't be sucked in. In fact, all the planets would continue orbiting just as they do now, completely undisturbed. Though, of course, the solar system would instantly freeze and plunge into pitch darkness. Now that we are on the subject of the sun vanishing and darkness taking over, we are also missing a massive truth about the giant powerhouse that shines above us every day. The sun does not host a chemical combustion reaction fueled by oxygen, meaning it is not on fire in the way we understand it. Instead, it is a colossal nuclear reactor, generating energy by fusing hydrogen atoms in its core. Furthermore, when viewed from space, its color is pure white, not yellow. The only reason it appears yellow to us is because of Earth's atmosphere. Despite being right next to this giant white nuclear furnace, the temperatures and characteristics of the planets in our system operate under rules that completely upend our everyday logic. While Mercury is the closest planet to the Sun, Venus is actually the hottest planet in the solar system. Because Mercury lacks a protective atmosphere, its night side plummets to a freezing minus 170 degrees Celsius. Venus, on the other hand, traps all the incoming solar heat within its incredibly dense carbon dioxide atmosphere, driving its surface temperature up to a lead-melting 465 degrees Celsius. While Venus's suffocating, scorching atmosphere terrifies us, cinema has blown things out of proportion with the atmosphere and storms of another neighbor, creating an illusion of its own. In films, we see massive dust storms on Mars, flipping spacecraft over and tearing everything to shreds. In reality, no matter how fast those winds blow, they couldn't knock over a single piece of tech. The Martian atmosphere is so thin and frail that the wind wouldn't even have enough force to rustle your hair. The only real danger these storms pose is blanketing robotic rovers' solar panels in dust, leaving them stranded in the dark without power. Moving past the feeble storms of Mars toward the outer edges of the solar system, we encounter other celestial bodies that leave breathtaking trails behind them as they shift with the wind. However, their mechanics are also far from what they seem. We often imagine a comet's brilliant tail trailing behind it like a cloud of dust kicked up by a speeding car. But this is completely wrong. A comet's tail is shaped by the position of the sun, not the direction it is traveling. Solar radiation and solar winds melt the comet's ice, blowing the particles directly away from the sun. This means that as a comet moves away from the sun, it is actually traveling headfirst into its own tail. Far from settling down, the universe, which sets the stage for this surprising dance of comets, continues to amaze us with the mind-boggling, colossal structures hidden around its monsters. We usually think of black holes strictly as dark, light-devouring beasts. Yet the brightest objects in the universe sit right on their doorsteps. Known as quasars, these structures are formed when matter about to plunge into a supermassive black hole swirls and rubs together at near-light speeds. This friction releases such an immense amount of energy that a single quasar can shine 1,000 times brighter than an entire galaxy. Surrounding these tremendous glows and gravitational hubs, not only does light gather, but so do massive elements that dwarf all of Earth's water supplies combined. We tend to think of Earth's oceans as the largest body of water in the universe. However, deep in space, scientists discovered a colossal cloud of water vapor surrounding a black hole. The amount of water in this cosmic cloud is a staggering 140 trillion times more than all of Earth's oceans combined. This discovery reminds us that the cosmos often defies our expectations, hiding unimaginable reservoirs in the most unlikely places. And yet, not all surprises in the universe are about sheer size or abundance. Sometimes they lie in the very nature of familiar giants. When we think of planets like Saturn, we imagine massive, crushing weights. But despite being the second largest planet in the solar system, Saturn is astonishingly light. Its density is lower than water. If there were an ocean vast enough to hold it, Saturn would float like a colossal buoy. While Saturn's lightness and magnificent rings seem unique to it, looking back at our history reveals that our own home, Earth, once enjoyed a share of this beauty. Saturn is the first planet that comes to mind when we think of planetary rings. However, one of the leading scientific theories, the giant impact hypothesis, suggests that Earth may have boasted a spectacular ring system in its past. According to this model, a Mars-sized ancient celestial body collided with a young Earth about 4.5 billion years ago. The billions of tons of debris blasted into space by the impact formed a massive ring orbiting the Earth. Over time, this shimmering ring of rock coalesced to form our moon today. In other words, the moon that lights up our nights might just be the remnant of Earth's long-lost rings. This billions of years old shared history between Earth and the moon leads us to the mysterious and profound effect that massive cosmic bodies have on time itself. We naturally assume that time ticks away at the same speed everywhere in the universe. Yet time actually runs slower in regions with intense gravitational pull or at incredibly high speeds. This is not just a sci-fi movie trope, it's a part of our daily lives. If the navigation systems in our phones didn't automatically correct for the time discrepancy between us and the satellites in space every single day, your maps would glitch instantly and misguide you by kilometers. Your GPS proves every second that time warps. In a universe where time bends so easily, we also harbor a major misconception about how everything began. We often incorrectly visualize the inception of time and space as an explosion. Because of the phrase Big Bang, most of us picture this event like a firework exploding inside a dark, empty void. However, the Big Bang was not an explosion inside space, because before that moment, space did not exist. The Big Bang was the simultaneous expansion and stretching of space and time themselves at every single point. The universe doesn't have a center because it isn't something that exploded outwards. It is a fabric that is continuously growing. As we can see, every corner of space, every speck of matter, and time itself continues to challenge our earthling logic, leaving us in awe and shattering our myths one by one. It reminds us that we are just scratchers of the surface in this vast cosmic ocean, driven by a curiosity that knows no bounds. If you love exploring these deep mysteries of the universe with me, make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit that like button. See you in the next cosmic journey.